محمد وعلى محمد صلوات. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Assalamu alaikum, dear brothers and sisters. Tonight, we are all gathered to talk about one of many important figures in Islamic history, one of them being Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam. Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam was a courageous and knowledgeable man. His collection of sermons and speeches often included directions and right paths to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, leading one to do good and away from evil, and educates souls about setting them right, giving them speeches and quotes on human rights from books called Risala al-Huquq. And here he talks and describes 51 different examples of different rights. He talks about Allah's rights, rights on your teacher, rights on your parents, guardians, slash caretakers. He even goes on and talks about the rights of children. One of Imam Sajjad's quotes that talks about Allah's rights against oneself. He says, "May Allah have mercy on you. Know that Allah has rights against you. These rights surround you in all your movements, in your rest, in all your body parts, and everything that you see. Some of these rights are big, others are small. The greatest right, which is on you from Allah Himself, and this is the root of all other rights. The greatest right of Allah on you is to worship Him without associating anything with Him. If you do that with purity of the heart, He promises to give you sufficiently what you need, here in this world, the dunya, and here in the next world, the akhirah." These quotes that was just said has a significant connection and relation to the Quran. In verse 31, chapter 13, it states, "Never associate anything with Allah in worship, for associating others with Him is truly the worst of all wrongs." As you can see here in the context above, Imam Sajjad alayhi salam lectures and sayings had a lot to do with relation to the Quran. He wanted to state the importance of prayer and worship for not Allah but for us. In fact, the actual definition of Sajjad was given to him because it defines to one who was in the position of prostration often. This shows the value Imam Sajjad alayhi salam held of worship and prayer to Allah within relation and connection that the Quran has stated as well. In fact, Imam Sajjad's sayings about relations to human rights also leads to the rights of your mother. He states, "The rights of your mother are, she carried you where no one carries anyone else. She fed you the fruit of her heart which no one gives to anyone else. She protected you with all parts of her body. She did not care if she remained hungry as long as you were fed, if she was thirsty as long as you drank, if she was naked as long as you had clothes on, if she was in the sun so long as you were in shade. She lost her sleep for you. She protected you from cold and heat so that you should live. You will never be able to thank her unless if Allah helps you." This shows the value and importance a mother holds to her child. In fact, there's a Quran that has relation to this. There's a verse in the Quran that has relation to this very statement. In chapter 14, verse 31, it states, "And we have commanded people to honor their parents. Their mothers bore them through hardship upon hardship, and their weaning takes 2 years. So be grateful to me and to your parents. To me is the final return." As you can see from the verse just said, the value and placement your mother and father hold through the skies. In fact, there is also a saying about how dearly you should appreciate your father. He says, "And the right of your father is that you should know that he is your root and you are his branch. And without him, you would not be. Whenever you see anything in yourself which pleases you, you should know that your father is the roots of its blessings upon you." This is another example of quotes by Imam Sajjad alayhi salam and the value and placement you should hold upon Allah, yourself, and your parents. Imam Sajjad alayhi salam also goes on to talk and teach others about the rights of your children. He states, "And the right of your child is that you should know that he is from you, and he will be ascribed to you in this world due to both his good deeds and his evil deeds. And you are responsible for what has entrusted to you in teaching him good conduct, and guiding him toward his Lord, and helping him to obey him, Allah, on your behalf and for himself. Then you will be rewarded for so doing, and you will be punished. Then, regarding his affairs, act like one who will be proud of bringing him up in this world, and one who's excused by his Lord for what is between you and him, for taking good care of him and the good results you achieved. And there is no power but in God." This quote is a perfect example the rights and values children hold in Islam. In relation, the Quran talks about the value of children as well. In chapter 16, verse 72, it states, "And Allah has made for you spouses of your own kind, and given you through your spouses children and grandchildren, and He has granted you good, lawful provisions. Are they then faithful to falsehood and ungrateful for Allah's favors?" This text has relation to the subject with which Imam Sajjad was saying, that children is a gift from Allah and a blessing, so do not be ungrateful or give hatred towards them. In conclusion, Imam Sajjad talks about the importance of human rights, Allah's rights against oneself, the right of your mother and father, and even rights of children. Don't take Allah's sign of mercy, blessings, and gifts for granted. I hope you all can learn and spread this knowledge with others. Thank you for sharing your time with me tonight, and may Allah and the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam guide us all. Allahumma ameen. By Muhammad wa ala Muhammad salawat.